Buongiorno a tutti, io sono Fernando, Università Stranieri di Perugia, il delegato del rettore, il direttore per il centro di ricerca sulle acque Warredoc. I will switch to English for this international workshop in the occasion of our visiting friends from the US. Some of the speeches will be in Italian. We have an assistant, Francisco Begna, who will help us with translation, please. But for me, just say 2 words for introducing the guests. Then we'll do the welcome speeches. Our magnifico rettore, our rector Giovanni Paciullo, will join us around 12 for another event that will be with us very soon. But for the opening remarks, I will give first the floor to our director of the Department of Social and Human Sciences, Professor Giovanna Zagarelli, and then I'll introduce the other opening speakers. Giovanna, please.
Grazie Fernando. Grazie, dunque mi chiamo Giovanna Zagarelli e dirigo il Dipartimento di Scienze Umane e Sociali. Good morning everyone and thank you for coming. It's a pleasure for me to meet here today, with you here today. I want to thank Professor Nari, Director of the Warredoc, and Stefan, the Coordinator and Director of UNESCO. Thank you very much. And you, I want to thank you, Professor of the Florida International University, FIU, on one of the most prestigious universities, American universities, for this important collaboration between the University for Foreigners and FIU. University for Foreigners is a multicultural disciplinary reality. We are specialized in humanities, in political historical sciences, in communication sciences, and engineering sciences. Here, technical sciences and human sciences go together in, I think, interesting new perspective. I think water research is an important part of universities' studies, is the future of the planet, I think. And this collaboration is very, very important for us. I wish a long collaboration, fruitful collaboration. Thank you, Fernando. Thank you, Professor FIU. Good job, everyone.
Thank you. I also want to stress the fact that Professor Zaganelli, together with the duty of directorship for the department, is coordinating the PhD that we have in Perugia University for Stranieri. And we really talk and collaborate a lot with each other because she's the one leading the communication. So when we talk about storytelling, is a word that we use for developing together research and projects in water and communication.
Water, storytelling, communication.
Water, storytelling, communication. So we'll discuss this further. We'll just take other time from the opening speeches. But just want to say just 2 words for thanking and welcoming the other opening speakers. They are good friends and colleagues on the Warredoc. We have here the Regione Umbria. Diego Zurli is the head of the water programs, but also generally for urban planning, land development, risk general, from seismic risk, water risk. Is the top director of the Regione Umbria, is a close friend of us, and I thank him for staying here. We'll see a few words later. I want to thank UNESCO World Water Assessment Program Coordinator, Professor Stefan Ulebrock. He was, of course, introduced to us the WAP, and he's a close friend, also that the University of Florence is very proud to host in Colombella, here in Perugia. And also Professor Fabio Castelli, School of Engineering, University of Florence. As you see in the organization committee of this meeting, I will say a few words later again, introducing to the ones that don't know, that we were together in May in Miami for a workshop that was very successful. Florence PhD International Doctoral Program that Fabio will choose later. It's a very fruitful collaboration that is moving forward. We'll talk this later, and we also in our visit tomorrow we will be in Florence. We'll again discuss this later. So no, please.
Un'aggiunta in italiano, io voglio complimentarmi con tutti quanti sono seduti a questo tavolo, devo dire, ma anche con Fernando che professor Narri, che è l'anima di questa organizzazione e che ha costruito una rete importante tra università italiana, università della Florida e diciamo autorità e enti regionali. Questa rete è secondo me un importante passo per procedere in questa direzione e per instaurare questa collaborazione tra Università per Stranieri e Florida International University e per costruire questa nuova prospettiva in cui gli humanities vanno d'accordo con la communication sciences and engineering sciences. This is a very, very beautiful project. Is un'idea straordinaria, un'extraordinary idea. I think, thank you for that. Thank you.
Because I didn't choose the title of the workshop. Water Science and Culture and Communication is our general topic, and then water challenges to address this topic in the workshop. And thank you for the other guests. Don't blame me for not introducing everyone, but we'll do this after the welcome speeches because some of our welcome speakers will tend to go away soon. So let me give the floor to Diego Zurli, Regione Umbria, that will say a few words to us. Any language you like, or English as you wish.
I would prefer to speak in Italian because my English is not perfect.
No, go ahead. Italiano.
Oh, if you are ready to listen to me, some wrong words, I can try, but I'm not sure that. Okay.
Any language. Università per Stranieri di Perugia. This was can speak Chinese, Indian,
Allora, se siamo all'Università per Stranieri, mi scuserete se utilizzerò diciamo, la lingua che mi è più congeniale, che è quella italiana. Intanto benvenuto a tutti a questa ottima iniziativa organizzata dall'Università. Noi partecipiamo sempre molto volentieri, abbiamo un rapporto di collaborazione che dura da molti anni con l'Università e anche con tutte quelle istituzioni come UNESCO, che sono interessate a studiare nel campo della ricerca, delle applicazioni, il tema appunto delle risorse idriche. Noi ci occupiamo in generale di diverse tipologie di rischi, è stato giustamente ricordato la vicenda del terremoto che ha colpito l'Umbria l'anno scorso, e lo facciamo nell'ambito di un piano che si chiama Piano regionale multirischio, che affronta tutte le tipologie di rischio, almeno quelle più importanti, nell'ottica appunto della prevenzione e della previsione. Previsione e prevenzione sono le due gambe su cui si regge il Sistema Nazionale della Protezione Civile, quindi prevedere gli eventi, ma soprattutto prevenirli, quindi mettere in campo azioni, iniziative in grado di affrontare le principali tipologie di rischio nel momento in cui si vengono a determinare. La parola d'ordine che sempre utilizziamo in queste occasioni e che poi è alla base in qualche modo del nostro lavoro è la parola resiliente. Quindi la parola resilienza è una parola che ho abusato, talvolta anche inflazionata, in cui che rappresenta però l'approccio giusto, che non è semplicemente quello di delegare, come dire, ai tecnici, all'ingegneria, le soluzioni dei problemi, ma creare una cultura della prevenzione e della previsione del rischio che in qualche modo ispiri in qualche modo le iniziative, le attività delle istituzioni, ma soprattutto crei delle comunità in grado, come dire, di resistere, di affrontare al momento del bisogno gli eventi di rischio. principali tipologie di rischio di quali ci occupiamo, ovviamente, oltre alle alluvioni, sono ovviamente i terremoti, che sono di grande attualità, anche la siccità, il rischio idrogeologico, soprattutto nella componente delle frane, il potenziale rischio derivante dalla presenza di grandi invasi, quindi di dighe, e soprattutto anche il rischio industriale nelle varie combinazioni, quindi il rischio chimico, insomma, quindi tutte le tipologie di rischio che possono derivare dalla presenza di grandi impianti industriali all'interno del territorio. Il tema dell'acqua naturalmente ci vede particolarmente interessati, anche perché la Regione Umbria, che non si fa mancare nulla, è stata oggetto anche di eventi alluvionali importanti negli anni passati, soprattutto nel 2012 e nel 2013 con l'alluvione d'Orvieto. Quindi tutto questo ha sviluppato anche nell'ambito dell'attività istituzionale, delle attività che appunto ha visto coinvolgere il mondo della ricerca, delle università e anche naturalmente quelle istituzioni come appunto Warredoc sono stati i nostri partner appunto nello sviluppare iniziative nel campo appunto della protezione del rischio idraulico o anche di altre tipologie di rischi. Quindi non aggiungo altro, naturalmente questa è anche la ragione per la quale siamo molto attenti e cerchiamo in qualche modo di ascoltare e di dare il nostro modesto contributo a tutte quelle iniziative che appunto volte ad incrementare e aumentare la cultura della resilienza, quindi dell'adattamento delle comunità e delle istituzioni alla presenza e all'esistenza di determinati rischi, ed è questa la ragione per la quale iniziative come questa ci vedono partecipi, danno magari anche un contributo modesto, anche se so che nel pomeriggio, nella mattinata, alcuni nostri tecnici presenteranno dei panel, delle iniziative appunto nell'ambito dell'attività che svolgono, e quindi nella consapevolezza che tutto questo è utile e anzi prezioso per appunto aumentare la cultura della resilienza di una comunità come l'Umbria, che appunto è colpita da diverse tipologie di rischio, e proprio per questo cerca di organizzarsi e migliorare se stesso per poter affrontare queste vicende. Grazie di tutto, mi scuso per aver parlato in italiano e vi auguro naturalmente buon lavoro.
Voglio ringraziare il direttore Zurli, è una presenza importante, è un amico dell'Università di Perugia, come ha detto, è un collega con cui abbiamo tanti anni, insomma, una collaborazione fruttifera. Come ha detto, in questo momento con i vari terremoti è molto difficile motivare l'uso di risorse dell'acqua, è molto complesso, noi come siamo in generale, però noi siamo fiduciosi perché, come ha detto nel suo discorso, la prevenzione è frutto di tutto lo sviluppo della sicurezza dei cittadini, e quindi noi siamo sempre pronti, disponibili, abbiamo tutti i nostri studi sul tema, sul rischio idrogeologico che presenteremo oggi con i suoi tecnici, e sono sicuro che presto insomma metteremo a frutto tutte le nostre potenzialità, quelle della Regione Umbria, quelle del Warredoc e quelle di tutti gli amici che sono qui con noi. So switching back to English, Director Zurli, that's covering all the multi-risk. We call this multi-risk for Regione Umbria, everything, droughts, floods, and all the others. But in this moment, Umbria and central Italy has been hit severely by earthquakes, and it's very now difficult for going in further development projects, research outside the seismic area. But no, we will cover it and we will discuss it in detail, because multi-risk is the keyword for the European funded projects. There is no water project that will be funded if you don't also do other data science, landslide, flood science. You never have only one single flood project at the international level. So we're confident we'll work with the region very soon. Okay, I won't take other time for the other welcome speech by Stefano Mendros, that there's another delegation in Colombella. He has to leave by 11, right, Stefano? So you have 15 minutes, right? So Stefano also has some slides. He will give a welcome speech, but also a technical speech for introducing the World Water Assessment Program. Thank you, Stefan, for being with us, and the floor is yours.
Grazie Fernando, buongiorno everybody, and I continue in English so you don't want to listen to my Italian. My name is Stefan Lundborg, I'm with the World Water Assessment Program, and unfortunately, my colleague Michela Mileto, she was in the, what's it called, the roundtable issues and challenges, and she can't be here this morning, unfortunately. I only learned last night, and then this morning in the car when I came from Rome, we decided, well, kind of that I should give a short, proper presentation, but also show a little bit of, besides welcome everybody in Perugia, which is funny for Tedesco to welcome somebody in Italy, but also to also show a little bit what we're doing that maybe is then the fundament for the collaboration. I have a couple of slides, yeah, and while enjoying my morning cappuccino, just to demonstrate a little bit of what we are doing, and before I go into that, I really feel I want to congratulate already. My previous job, I was the Vice Rector for Academic Affairs of a UNESCO Institute in Delft, the Netherlands. And one of my business was quality assurance and all this, and trying to control professors, which is impossible. But I also trying to keep an eye on the quality of joint programs and master programs and PhD. We never got off the ground. So really, congratulations. You know, this is amazing. I heard you do it also with Braunschweig and also with the US universities, because the whole system is so different in terms of reporting and deadlines and who, you know, who's doing what, and it's not that the one quality is better or not, it's just different. And so that you are able to align this and to make a real international PhD degree, congratulations, and a lot of respect already. And I was really involved in a lot of the master program level, at European level, and Asia we did, but that you get this done, so congratulations. A few words about the Worldwide Assessment Program, and I do have a pointer here, which should move. Did you put in the, are you speaking? Okay, well there's too much text, but the main, when we talk about water assessment, you know, the starting point is you can't manage what you don't measure. Yeah, it's a, you know, the management exercise, first lesson, first seminar you hear about the importance of measurement and data. But it's not only the monitoring. Yeah? To assess the multi-risks of Dr. Zuli, you know, it's also being able to assess it. You know, to assess to make that extra step from monitoring to make it in something useful for society. And we work in that field and work certainly on water, global water assessment. These are the main activities that we are doing. First is we produce evidence-based knowledge products. What you have in front of you, if you may, Diego, this is the World Water Development Report from 2017. It's on wastewater, the untapped resource. That's our main product we produce every year. And I will speak a little bit more about the synthesis report on the Sustainable Development Goals, because there's a lot of data management involved in this. Furthermore, we work on policy science dialogues as well as some transdisciplinary projects I explain in a minute. But all these kind of, working for UNESCO, we make the UNESCO temple here. You know, this temple, these are the pillars that carry the roof, and the roof is really to monitor, assess and report the state, the use and the management of water resources. That's what it is all about. A few things about the World Water Development Report. Nowadays it's an annual report. You see in 2017 it was on water and energy. In 2015 it's on water for a sustainable world. 16 on jobs, which was actually very well received and a lot of interest at the policy level. You know, water and jobs, you know, water is, people think this is less than 1% of the global workforce. But this, you know, us water experts, we less than 1%, we generate the possibilities to create many, many other jobs. So it's really the employment, which is relevant for Italy as it is for many other countries. It's very interesting report. It was presented widely at parliaments, etc. And water and wastewater, and at the moment we are compiling, and the first draft is ready next week for final review on nature-based solutions. So how nature can do the job, how nature can help fulfilling water management objectives. Yeah? That's what we are compiling as we speak. And interesting also from a EU point of view, nature-based solution. These are these reports, and I have to say it's a UN Water report. There's the UN Water logo here, which UNESCO is producing, but it's very much in collaboration with many other partners. You know, for the nature-based solutions, for instance, Fernando is a member of the team that puts it together, and we have usually some 60+ authors putting this together. So it's very much a collaborative effort. You don't believe it, but there are 31 UN agencies that are part of UN Water, and another 38 international agencies that are part of UN Water, and we try to coordinate, which is a bit like herding cats, but we at least every year we manage to produce this report. This is the wastewater report. It's on how critical wastewater management is for social environmental and economic development. And one thing is to have another report, and busy people like Dr. Zoli and others, they get every week another report on their desk and they never have time to read all this, you know. And so therefore we believe, what was also a professor said, how important is the communication about it. So one is to have yet another report, and of course they need to be solid and cutting edge, but also to how to communicate about it. And therefore I would speak a little bit of what kind of activities we are doing, but I'm happy to learn how we can do that even better. We for instance did more than 30 launches worldwide. This is the main launch we did in South Africa. This is President Zuma of South Africa holding our report, and these are other African ministers, leaders from the World Bank, and other the director of AMCAO of Africans already. So, and when I gave the presentation, I tried to make some jokes about the importance of wastewater, and it was interesting. Then I had a press conference with President Zuma, and he was repeating my jokes. So that demonstrated he actually was listening, you know? Because, you know, heads of states, you know, and he was really there for 6 hours with us in this whole event, and we did press conference together and all this, you know, he was really into it, and which is interesting. This is one of the outreach activities we are doing, and in a nutshell, what the report shows that globally, actually more than 80% of the wastewater is discharged to the environment without proper treatment. Yeah, more than 80%, and it's crazy. We found quite a number of so-called developing countries where there's practically zero wastewater treatment and management. Yeah? They just discharge it to the environment, and that is bad for the environment, but it's also an untapped resource. Wastewater is nothing we should just discharge and get rid of. Now, it's really a resource. It has water to offset water scarcity issues. It has nutrients to support plant growth, for instance. Or it has interesting metals, organic material, etc., etc. It's really a resource. It's nothing. It's not a nuisance which we should just discharge. That was a bit on the waste development report. Now, quickly about the synthesis report. That's a new baby. And because it's very data intensive, I thought I'd explain this a little bit more also for the colleagues from North America who work a lot on data management, I understand. The synthesis report is a critical report for the UN World Development Goals. These are the Sustainable Development Goals. There is 17. The global community agreed on these 17 goals to achieve them by 2030. One of them is on water. And the others on climate change, on hunger or food security, energy, equality, gender, etc., etc., etc. And we have a UN Water Task Force with quite a number of different agencies, actually 14, including the World Bank, WMO, UNICEF, UNU, etc. They all contribute to one report. And I'll explain why in a minute, and I'm coordinating that effort on behalf of the UN. Why do we do this now? Because the global community decided to every year to look at where are we with different goals. And in 2018 there will be the high-level political forum. That's the member states that sit together in New York and look at a couple of goals, including SDG 6. They want to be informed of where are we with the water goal, what are the key policy recommendations that you can share with us. And to inform that processes when these 195 heads of state sit together and discuss water, we produce this report to inform that discussion. And that is in July 18. Therefore, in March 18, we have to finish our report on the synthesis report. Why do we do this? These are the different goals on hunger, health, education, etc., etc. One is the water goal. Within that water goal, we have 11 different indicators. So every performance management system needs key performance indicators. And it was decided to have these. So percentage of safely managed drinking water services, safely managed sanitation, ambient water quality, water use efficiency, and etc., etc. These are different indicators. Yes, different UN agencies are responsible with the member state to produce data on this. And what will now happen is that all of them, they produce reports. So UNICEF is producing one on maybe a valuable one on wastewater management or on water supply for children, others on health issues, on environmental issues, etc., etc. But the political impact of that is probably diminished. If every agency holds up its own report and say, hey, dear policymakers, here we read this because these are key policy recommendations for you. And therefore, to avoid that, we decided instead of all these many reports, and there's publications by Professor Castelli on this, and UN reports and national reports, etc., to avoid flooding them with this too much, rather to synthesize that into one report and demonstrate what are the key messages that we share as policymakers. That's why we do this synthesis report. It provides the global status of where are we with SDG 6. It looks at the intra-linkages, so how the different targets in SDG 6 can depend on each other, as well as the interlinkages, so how water connects to climate change, how are the targets either facilitating each other or maybe are causing trade-offs between the water and energy, for instance. Or hydropower is maybe good for energy security, but maybe has environmental compromises to think about. Yeah? So that's always this kind of trade-off analysis. And finally, some policy recommendations. To show, nonetheless, I can speak for 50 minutes, I'm using this, and to show just a few results, what I'm meaning, because we also have quite some data behind this. I show you just some first results on this, and for instance, this is the map of the countries that have at least basic drinking water services. And you see, the problem is not in the blue areas, where we have more than 90%, but in the orange parts, and you are probably not surprised which countries in the world are not having achieved the Millennium Development Goal on basic drinking water. The Sustainable Development Goal is on universal and equitable access and safe affordable drinking water for all. So not only for the blue countries, and not only for the rich member of society, for all. You know, the poor members, marginalized group of society, etc., etc. And we look at this, and for instance, we analyze data. These are, we call that bubble plots. Every country is a bubble. The size of the population indicates the size of the bubble. So for instance, this is India and China. And in the year 2000, we're plotting here the access to water versus the access to electricity. Year 2000 versus the year 2014. And you see here, there's an improvement. So there's a so-called race to the top. Now China really is here, where basically almost exceed, have 100% access of electricity as well as basic drinking water. Yeah? India is also moving well, and other countries are developing in that direction. It's good. But there's other regions in the world that are so-called left behind. You know, these blue dots, sorry, the letters are a bit small. This is sub-Saharan Africa, and you can see how low they score in terms of access to electricity or access to basic water. Yeah. Another example of what we do is on the for safe water. There's three criteria. One is to have it 24/7, ideally, to have it contamination-free, so that it's healthy. And the third is to have it within 30 minutes. That means walking there back and forth and waiting time within 30 minutes. These are three criteria. If you now look at the criteria for people having households that need more than 30 minutes to collect that water, and we look at the year 1995 to 2015, this is where we have data, and you see it's going the wrong direction. In many parts of the world, for instance in Northern Africa and Western Asia, or in sub-Saharan Africa, it's actually increasing. So there's more and more people have to walk and take longer distance to collect the water, despite all the efforts in development aid and overseas development, and it's actually going the wrong direction, you could argue. So we did not perform better in this sustainable development period. And if you extrapolate that linearly, to keep it simple, just India, you see in 2030 we would be here if we don't change priorities. So actually there's more billion of people, more higher percentage in the areas where people have to walk longer distance or wait longer for the water. And then I discussed it with our data analyst, and he asked me, Stefan, what do you think? Is it the rural area, the urban areas where people need longer time to fetch water? What would you think? I said it's the rural areas. People have to walk longer distance to collect the water. You know, I was wrong. And however, it's the other way around. If you compare, in 2000 we had 150 million. In 2050 we have 260 million. Another 7 million per year additional. And if this continues, it means that soon we have 5% of the world population that have to walk longer distance. This is just one of the many hundreds of indicators that are available, just to illustrate of what we do. And now with the rural urban, it's quite interesting. This is the urban area and this is the rural area, and actually it's increasing more rapidly. This is based on data. More rapidly for the urban area. Why is that? It seems that in sub-Saharan Africa, this purple reddish is sub-Saharan Africa, there's a very strong urbanization, but providing infrastructure for access, we cannot keep up. But the urbanization is much faster, then there's more water points for people getting access to. That means there's more people in the urban areas having either to walk longer distances or to wait longer because there's more and more people on the same number of access points. So it's kind of interesting that the urbanization is kind of seems to dominate that negative development, and even worse than we have in the rural areas. Yeah? And these are these kind of messages that we would like to share with political leadership and hopefully help to set priorities in the right direction. These were just examples from water supply, but we're working a lot on all the indicators, including ecosystems or dependence of water efficiency, water scarcity. There's much more, but Fernando only gave me 15 minutes. So good. Let me come to the final, what we're doing in terms of transdisciplinary projects. Just one example. We work a lot on the field of water and gender, and my colleague Michela Miletto is leading that part, where we collect data again, but sex disaggregated data for water, because the role of men and women in water is often different. And also, to understand that role better helps us to set policy right. So therefore, this kind of methodology to collect sex disaggregated data, to analyze it and to make policy recommendations, that's a bit of niche water data field where we are active. And finally, I would like to say a few things about policy dialogues. We work with short movies and capacity building for Africa. This is at Villa Colombella, where we had a couple of African professionals coming to follow some training. And we also did in Italy kind of discussions. Who you see here, this is Vice Minister Giro from Minister of Foreign Affairs. This is Madame Degali. She's the Secretary of State for Environment in Italy. And this is Madame Bukova, the Director General of UNESCO, my boss, you know. She was here and received the honorary doctor of this university. And in the afternoon we had a discussion, and why I show this picture, not that we have high-level visitors, but more, this is Padre Futanato. Padre Futanato is from the Assisi convent. Assisi is 20 kilometers from here, and maybe our American guests also have the chance to visit there. And Padre Futanato is a very a special figure here in the Italian context, and they were discussing at Colombella water and sustainability. And a spiritual leader, I believe, are very important in that aspect. And it's not only about foreign affairs and environment and UN people, but it's also the kind of the inputs we receive from Padre Futanato were very interesting, and we facilitate these type of discussions. This is an example from Colombella, but we also do their conferences and try to bring together out-of-the-box people to discuss water and sustainability issues. Yeah. And finally, we present this report widely. The last report were presented also at the European Parliament. This is in Brussels, where I presented the wastewater report this year. And this is at the UN in New York, where we also presented this report and shared these results. And one last thing, and then I really started. What I have here is a piece of art in my hand. This is a small crystal ball.
Take your time, Stefan.
Yeah, in 2 minutes I'm done. What you see here is there was an artist. She worked at the Villa Massimo in Rome. I met her. She happened to be a German, but that's by accident. And she was discussing about water and the water cycle. She's an artist, you know. She was very interested also in that report, and we discussed PowerPoint slides and so. And she was kind of interested in that and trying to translate that in a piece of art. So she developed this crystal sphere with 2 different liquids of different density, and they are floating about each other. And if you shake them, after a while they settle down again, and they are again in harmony. She compared this like the yin and yang, that also water fluxes, wastewater and fresh water need to be in harmony, and we all have a kind of a limited water resources, and we have to look at that in a holistic way. And so she produced this, and we have a very nice video on this also on our website, which I'm happy to send you the link. It's on YouTube, where this is kind of this concept is explained. And when I was in New York and talking about this wastewater report, these ambassadors are very busy people. They sit in the morning and listen to somebody talking about wastewater. Maybe before lunch they have another meeting talking about water conflicts in North Korea. In the afternoon about maybe pharmaceutical industry, and in the evening they have a talk about culture and education. You know, they have all the time something else, and they're very used to somebody telling them, please listen to me, I have an important message, you know. And they know nice PowerPoint slides very well and read out speeches, so, but to really touch them, we gave them this, we presented this crystal ball, and then this is the chair, she's the ambassador from Hungary. She gave it then to the ambassador from Tajikistan. He gave it, passed it on to the ambassador from Thailand, Canada, South Africa, etc. So this piece of art was circulating in the room, and they were giving water in good harmony from one country to the next. And it was really a touching moment. Also, we had youth representatives, and also you have to give water in good quality from one generation to the next. And also that was quite symbolic. They did this, and next morning I was at a meeting and was running into some colleagues, and I said, Mr. Ullenburg, this was really interesting. We are so used to listening professors who tell us what to do and having nice talks, but that you kind of, with some art, you try to involve them and touch them, that they really understand how important it is that water is in a good shape, and we pass it on from one country to the next, and from one generation to the next. That was a bit symbolic, and that is also in this video, which you might want to watch for 2 minutes. So with this, I hope I was able to give a bit an overview of what we're doing at the World Water Assessment Program. It's heavily on assessing data. We are not monitoring ourselves. It's not that we have gauging stations, but we try to use data sets that others have, try to make them useful and assess the data, trying to, what does that mean for wastewater? What does that mean for nature-based solutions? Therefore, we work with many people, and we are open to collaboration always. And before the head of department, professor, also stressed the importance of communication sciences, and I felt I also need to share a little bit how we try to communicate. It's not only about scientific results, also with policy dialogues, with presentations in parliaments, etc. How do we reach out to policymakers? Thank you very much.
Thanks a lot, Stefan. Really interesting presentation. Because we could listen to you for the entire day. You know, we have to go. You just introduced a general framework and activities. You know, but if you go on the WAP website, you see how many programs, how many projects, how much is the impact of the WAP to bring science and culture, let me say, to communication for reaching the people. The water bowl and this piece of art. Also, I'm very pleased to remember the time when we had a meeting in the parliament in Rome. That was the main thing. You know, because if you try as a scientist to explain the ecologic cycle or its important circular economy, and people don't get it. If you have this piece of art and people understand this, it was very impressive. So there's another WAP disseminating science and communication activities. So thank you so much. Grazie mille per
buon lavoro.
Grazie. E ci tenevo insomma che ci fosse per sentirmi. Arrivederci direttore. Passiamo alla seconda fase, we step into the second phase of the workshop, the introduction. If you don't mind the agenda, I will speak at last because I'm really pleased to give the floor to our distinguished guests, speakers, colleagues and friends. You know, we have been collaborating with Miami for a few years now. You know, 3-4 years. We have been collaborating, exchanging with Miami, ideas, and not these ideas are no longer our ideas. We have an MOU between the Warredoc and the FIU. It's a general MOU at the university level. It's not only the Warredoc. The agreement is the university foreigners, and also involving Florence, that also Professor Castelli will say the words in a minute. So Todd Kroll, he will introduce then better himself, and the Institute of Water and Environment of Florida University. He's the director, he's integrating, merging, expanding, and empowering the 4 main centers of FIU. And if you don't mind, Todd, what I will do is to suggest a little organization. We're really happy to introduce all the speakers here. And other are coming, you follow the program because it's traveling from Rome, so there will be other speakers coming. Todd will have not a presentation, but if Antonio can go to the computer, because some systems is missing, and Todd will introduce FIU, and if you go on the InWE FIU website, is InWE.FIU. What I will do to have Todd giving his 10 minutes, 15 minutes, take your time for introducing the program, because I'm very happy that everyone gets to know FIU in general, all of you and the collaboration, etc. Then I will have Fabio Castelli, introducing Università, Florence, and engineering, etc. And then each one of you in the room, hopefully the other people have just come and text me, they will come in a few minutes, have a round of table, everybody introducing himself and talking. So, but I want to just, before giving the floor, at least without, again, introducing you, because you will be yourself later, being very thankful to the speakers we have. As I said, the workshop is organized between Warredoc, FIU, Università, Florence, but we have here other good friends and colleagues with which we have partner agreements. We have ISPRA, for the American guests, is our EPA. And all the other Italians know ISPRA is the agency of the Ministry of Environment for Water and Environment. And we have Provincia of Perugia, Architetto Formica is the Perugia province. And we have other colleagues, Professor Bresci, University of Florence, and so we have a delegation, also Florence, with different professors. Other of them were in the program, couldn't be Perugia, but Florence will be tomorrow. And in many cases, will be other colleagues from Sapienza University of Rome, 2 coming and 2 talking on video call, from engineering and architecture. And other PhD students. Again, I won't introduce anyone, just to say what we have. We have agencies, we have the public institutions, that now may say directly because the main one left, with our donors. I couldn't say this before, but that's our goal. Yeah. And we'll bring the workshop minutes as a template of the ground proposal. That's our goal today. But now I can say this is ISPRA that shouldn't listen to this, but it's what we would do. Asking money to the agencies for funding our exchanges. No more talking from me. Todd Kroll. Please, I didn't do it for Maria, but if you do it for me, it will be our guest. Thank you, Todd.
All right, thank you very much, Fernando. So first, on behalf of my FIU colleagues, Dr. Donoso and Dr. Totonico, let me express my great appreciation for being able to visit your beautiful city and your great university. I think your introduction to your university was perfect, because you very much embrace multicultural, interdisciplinary, international collaboration. And at Florida International University, we very much care about the international. So thank you so much. And of course, my friendly colleagues Fernando and Fabio, I very much have appreciated our collaboration. And now, I think Fernando, many years ago, had his vision of something that could become very important between Italy, Rome, Venice, and Miami. I think it's the perfect sort of depiction of where we are in the world to say one of the world's oldest cities and one of the world's newest cities both face the same vulnerabilities to the same problems associated with water security, climate change, etc. So I think it sends a very important and strong message about sort of the kinds of issues we face and how we will have to take a very interdisciplinary, collaborative approach to solving this problem. So I think it's just a perfect sort of beginning of a great collaboration. I'm the director of the Institute of Water and Environment at Florida International University. I'll say more about it, more specifics after lunch. But the Institute is an attempt to bring together as much of an interdisciplinary group of people associated with water as we possibly can. So we have 3 main centers: the Southeast Environmental Research Center, which mostly is biogeochemists, hydrologists, eco-hydrologists, and ecologists That center has a long history of working on Everglades restoration, water restoration, etc. So most of our freshwater work, the research is done there. We have a Marine Education and Research Center, which are our marine ecologists, oceanographers, physical scientists. And then our newest center is our Sea Level Solution Center. And that is a very interdisciplinary group of biologists, hydrologists, engineers, architects, lawyers, people from all across the university who try to figure out what the solutions are. So the first two centers provide this very important basic science. The last center tries to deliver that science in terms of solutions. And then we have some cross-cutting programs that you can't see down there. Maria Donoso directs our international program, so our UNESCO-related research, and she'll talk a little bit, she'll talk mostly about all the interdisciplinary stuff we've done. So I think this collaboration between Warredoc and InWE is right on. I think we have the same kind of visions and the same goals. And then I know this isn't the topic of this workshop, but I'm very, very excited for this dual PhD. I think it opens up new opportunities, and I think about the next generation of students who might walk out into the world and say they have a PhD from your university and a PhD from FIU and go anywhere they want to go. So I think that offers a great opportunity. So that's really all I have to say.
So thank you a lot, Tom. I know Stefan has to go. Thank you, Stefan, so much for being with us. We appreciate it. And,
my apologies. We have other visitors to Columella coming in 20 minutes. But I see some of you tonight for the drinks.
I will take advantage of you. I know many of you come from outside, molti voi non vengono, sono venuti, è difficile, ma chi vuole rimanere per cena, welcome. Thank you. Want to stay for dinner? Let's see now. So Stefan will be with us. Will be social media also for maybe more out into the workshop. Okay. Ciao. Andrea. Okay. So Fabio Castelli.
That's me.
The floor is big player. Let's see all this collaborator. Is big expert.
Yes. Use the microphone.
Yes.
So thank you. First of all, thank you, Director Zaganelli, and thank you, Fernando, for hosting us here, and good morning to everyone. But a double thank to Fernando and to Todd, Maria, and Rita for taking me and the University of Florence aboard their long-lasting collaborations. My visit to Miami was extremely stimulating. I had really looking forward to have long-lasting collaboration for you. And we foresee collaboration on many topics related to water security, starting from water-related risk. With that respect, I'm also here as an affiliate to the UNESCO chair on sustainable management of geohydrologic hazard, which is just opened in Università of Firenze. And the water sanitation group, they apologize for not being here today, but you will meet them tomorrow. While on the water risk, as I said, with the UNESCO chair, we will collaborate a lot with the Earth Science Department. We will also meet tomorrow in the Firenze, where they will be very kind to be here with me, the group on water security from the School of Agriculture. They come from the School of Agriculture, but still engineers. It's sort of the engineer. Actually, but some of the Elena, we are sort of, friends with the students, and then they move to agriculture school where they keep an eye on water and their use for agriculture. And of course, what the sanitation said, so we see a lot of collaboration in many fields related to water security, but we believe that this the dual PhD, double PhD program that was just mentioned, and that we are about to start and to sign is a crucial starting point for fruitful collaboration. I think that co-tutoring PhD student is really the best way to verify and develop common scientific interests. All collaborations that started this way, including with Fernando, are the more long-lasting and sincere and fruitful. So I perceive this agreement as a crucial step in future collaboration. So thank you again for all the occasion you are giving to the University of Florence with this respect, and welcome you tomorrow also there.
Thank you a lot, Fabio. So like I said before giving you a quick introduction into the two sessions of the workshop, and also very few words about the Warredoc vision, projects and goals, and new governance, that was given the responsibility to lead. Tour of the speakers, starting from Maria Donoso. Just to Maria, introduce yourself so that each one of you on the table can introduce name, everything you want to say.
Well, first of all, thank you very much for having us here at this gorgeous, lovely university, but most important, with wonderful people. We very value very much. My name is Maria Donoso. I am presently the co-director for international programs for the Institute of Water and the Environment at FIU, and have been working with the University of Florence and, of course, our colleagues from Perugia in the establishment of the dual PhD, which has been a very, I would say, interesting experience, but it's going to open the way, as Sergio said, to a fruitful and, I would hope, long-lasting collaboration. My background, I'm a civil engineer, an ocean engineer, and I work mostly in water resources management and water security these days.
Thanks, Maria. Good morning, buongiorno. My name is Rita Teotonico from the Florida International University. I'm currently Associate Dean of Research for the College of Arts, Sciences, and Education. A large part of my role is trying to find productive collaborations for research, helping faculty find grant funding, as well as really work with the students to try to get them opportunities for real-world experiences and broadening their global scope. So this I see as quite a big step for us to establish opportunities for both our researchers and our students to really pursue such a wonderful collaboration. And thank you again for having us here. My roots are here, so I love being in Italy. It's wonderful. Again, thank you, and I look forward to more collaborations with everyone.
Thank you. My name is Elena Bresci, and I am from University of Florence, School of Agriculture. My background is civil engineering, particularly hydraulics. And I moved from the school, from the Faculty of Engineering to Agriculture maybe 20 years ago, but I don't regret that choice actually, because I had very great opportunities working with a professor over there that opened my mind to some other fields, obviously related with water, but mainly in cooperation. So I will present some experience that we are carrying on in some arid and semi-arid areas. And of course, I'm here also for trying to have some opportunities for collaboration, because the field where I work, I think, is really multidisciplinary field, and then I need some other competence that I don't have. And so I will thank you very much.
Good morning, everybody. My name is Francisco Peña. I'm a research associate from the Warredoc. I just finished the first year of the PhD at the University of Florence with Professor Castelli. And I'm particularly excited for this new collaboration between University of Florence and FIU. And definitely looking forward to join you in Miami next year for the flood risk large-scale modeling project, not only from the Tiber River, but looking forward to do it for all the world. Thank you.
Good morning to all of you. My name is Elena Quadri. I work in this university at the Warredoc, and I am a research associate. And my research area concerns the international water law with a particular reference to managing transboundary waters, that is to say surface water and groundwater resources. And also I study the principal legal instruments such as international convention, treaties, agreements. And at the present, my research concerns the Danube risk, the flood risk management, with particular focus on the Danube River basin.
Buongiorno. Excuse me, but I don't speak English well, then I speak in Italian, sorry. Sono Sergio Formica, sono architetto, sono dirigente della provincia di Perugia e mi occupo del servizio ambiente e territorio. Da tanti anni mi occupo di architettura sostenibile e nella sostenibilità dell'architettura ovviamente anche il discorso dell'acqua gioca un ruolo estremamente importante. Porterò il mio contributo per quanto riguarda realizzazioni concrete nel territorio. Mi auguro che poi ci sia l'opportunità in futuro di andare a visitare i luoghi che farò vedere più avanti e spero di dare un contributo positivo a questo incontro. Grazie.
Buongiorno, good morning everybody. I'm Alessandro Lotti from ISPRA. As Fernando said before, the right name is a long name, so it's shortly it's the EPA, but the complete name is National Italian Institute for Environment Protection and Research. So, but yeah, we are here with Maria Chiara. We are because we are involved in different cooperation projects with Giuseppina Monicelli that who unlikely cannot be here today. And yeah, my background is I'm a civil engineer with a background on water and coastal and also hydraulic modeling. And yeah, in ISPRA we are working on water JPI. That is, after I'll show you some slides about it. But yeah, it's a joint program. Initiative for water, and yeah, we are involved also in other projects like Piano, Prima, and all program initiative where ISPRA is a partner or is involved in different activities.
You have the presentation later, so just now who you are and then the presentation.
Yeah, well, as Alessandro said, my name is Maria Chiara Sole. I work at ISPRA with him. And as for my background, I have a PhD in environmental economics, so we are involved in all those projects related to research and innovation, especially focused on water.
Thank you very much. My name is Giulio Castelli. I'm a PhD student at the School of Agriculture at the University of Florence. My background is civil engineering, and my research topic is rainwater harvesting and water management in arid areas.
Good morning to everybody. My name is Beatrice Laurita. Me too, I am a PhD student from University of Florence. I am an agronomist, but actually my research is focused on the relationship between water harvesting and water conflict.
Thank you, Emma. We'll give the floor to Antonio, and it was like a city. He wants to speak. Antonio is the first human product of this change. As you see walking there, Antonio, and he will tell you why, because he was in Miami already. He's our human experiment.
Yes, my name is Antonio, as Fernando says. Yes, I've been in Miami last year for 5 months. So I made some research there, and I'm at the last year of my PhD. in Florence, and I'm a research associate of the Warredoc.
Thank you, Antonio. As you see, I'm really into this vision. I have a few slides, but I won't take too much time. I will just say a few words about some vision, mission, what we like to accomplish with this collaboration. And then a short coffee breaks, also getting to know each other better, and a coffee that is needed at this time of the morning. I mean, in Italy, it's like mandatory step in the middle of the morning. And Francisco, the coffee break will be here, right? They're bringing the coffee.
No, it's going to be downstairs.
You have to go downstairs. No. We'll do that because there's some missing speakers. I need time to connect with people outside. Everything is going to be homemade, Italian style. I need to talk to people and try to catch the other person connecting from Rome. So, vision and goals. Very few words of the Warredoc, because the Warredoc has a long established 30 years heritage. The Warredoc was the place Maria Donoso knows well and knows my mentor Lucio Bertini, where African and other international scientists from the United Nations, all this network of exchange was going to Colombella in the 80s. And also the American professors, my mentors, from MIT, Princeton, mentioned Raphael Brass and other people were coming to Colombella to teach in the 80s when hydrology was at birth.
I was the young organizer of this.
Let me tell you something. I need to say this because it's really lucky thing that Fabio Castelli was the first scholar of the Italian program. The first given the scholarship of the CNR MIT exchange, Italian MIT exchange. I was the last one. So the last scholarship, then the program closed, and I would say at that time the Warredoc was also struggling in renovating, and then a lot of things happened. And the Warredoc, was given the directorship only 1.5 years ago. I want to stress this fact because it's like a rebirth, a restarting, and you know how challenging it is to get the funding. So in a few words about the Warredoc, the experience, and my background is in floods. I'm a civil engineer with a major in hydraulics and a PhD in hydrology. So the topics and the projects, when I came to Università for Fortebraccio of Perugia, and the fundings I was able to gather from agencies, the Taba River Basin authorities, the region, was about flood risk. That's how this started, but it was 1.5 years ago. So the topic, the Warredoc mission is very broad: research, advanced training, but you see some keywords that come from United Nations framework, capacity building, disaster risk management and reduction. And it's vision and goals I'm sure we share with FIU. We found this from the beginning. Solutions, applied research, technology transfer. That's what we like to do, because in this moment I think that specifically when you do fundraising, you need to have solutions that work using solid science, of course. It's not consultancy. It's solid science into work, creating job opportunities. That's something that they're asking all the time, EU. I want to say the numbers. In Italy, we have a 40% unemployment for young people coming from graduate studies. 40%. Average numbers. Some, of course, just at the national scale. So our students need a job, and our job as a professor is also to find opportunities to give them the platform for getting a job. So hydrology, water resource management, hydraulics, GIS, Geographic Information System, remote sense is one of our main skills, and this is also related to open big data. Data science, I think, is a trending topic for job opportunities, but for science, for something we share with FIU also, how much important is to have data. Stefan Uhlenbrock said that. We can control and manage what we can measure. So big data, gathering data. So next. So just so what we have done just to refresh and give birth again to the Warredoc, workshops and training. So means starting from short courses, summer courses, to using, for giving to the graduate students from Stranieri of Perugia, but also from other universities, Central Italy, and also not only, workshops and training. I see from the images. In 2016, the first event I made after the Warredoc was started again, a workshop on digital mapping for UNESCO heritage, so that giving the data to the students, they say, do a map, what do you mean for land protection? Give a map, what do you mean for heritage of Florence? So we give to under 30 participants, we gave them the material for learning GIS in 2 days, and the third day they did a project. I don't have time now, I will do it in the afternoon, but in 3 days, under 30 people in groups, they made the digital map of the 51 UNESCO sites in Italy, with different stories. It's a story mapping project, and a storytelling experiment. I love this. The 90 people with the workstation doing this was really impressive, and we did this also in 2017, and we'll do this every year. And I'd like to do this actually in Miami, because I think it's an experience that we can share with you. And the topics are open media and informatics. So that's the main line of work of the Warredoc, and also where we have the funding for. So we don't charge never the students and never pay paid courses. Everything is funded by the Regione, Provincia, and other small fundings and bigger fundings. Technology transfer, another thing I really do believe it's important for the Warredoc strategy. We have started a few months ago a Geo Meetup University Lab sponsored by ESRI, the global GIS company. We have a sponsorship and agreement with them. And we started in Perugia the Water Meetup Lab. So the GeoSmart Campus is a platform using geospatial knowledge and software for creating startups. We have an event in Perugia with the virtual reality. It was a lot of fun for training and seeding using the startup keywords, giving seeds to potential startuppers for self-employment, digital careers. And there are the two main lines. The other one I really care a lot, also because Professor Zaganelli is here, is communication and outreach. You can see on the website, again, I won't do this now, we call this Water Manifesto, how you bring science to people, how you communicate science. The Water Manifesto is a social and communication experiment in which you bring a professor, an academic, an expert to convert 20 slides, a standard scientific presentation, into 1 or 2 tweets. And it's very difficult. So you have to tell a professor, okay, now you have done your 30-minute talk, now you have to tell me 1 tweet. that means, and it was an experiment. If you go online, it's impressive. Some people didn't believe. There was the Parliament event in Rome, where we had there only 38 speakers, 5 minutes each. In Perugia, that experiment worked a lot. We have 50 speakers in 1 day. The people didn't, you see the program, you see the slots, 1 hour. And there were like 25 people in 45 minutes. And the people didn't believe there was a 5 minutes presentation. So basically what we did, we put in the Water Manifesto the 20 slides. We get the slides before, but then they did only to have 2 slides and 1 tweet. Some of them didn't believe that basically, it was really a human experiment, the first one. Then when people really believed that I was not crazy, I was really doing this, in Rome it was a success. People tweeting, I got this social network knowledge and platform for communication. That's something that is a lot of fun. Actually, I love this project, and it's working, also giving a lot of interaction with students and faculties and the managers of the entities. If you go on the Water Open Day website, there is a Water Manifesto section with all the Water Manifesto published. So we do this, we do a report based on the tweets and on the documents, and we then share it through Facebook and Twitter. And we do this every year for World Water Day, so we try to then push the communication to the international, the international UN days, the water, the March 22nd, World Water Day, and other disaster risk reduction day, etc. So I won't go longer on this, we'll go for the coffee break. Just mentioning the collaboration with FIU have started a few years ago. When I mentioned this, she's sleeping now, but I text her because also we have a great support in FIU from Christine Kali. You will see the recording because now he's in the US, it's still like 5 in the morning. People from the US will be connected in the afternoon, but Christine Kali, she's an extra powerful, French, half Italian, with is an impressive person helping us a lot. And he's an FIU, actually, member that is working for connecting the world with all these water programs. So we'll talk this later. I don't have other slides. I think just this introduction is more for now. We have a coffee break, and then we go for the presentation, in which we have also longer time speeches because we have, I think, 3 people missing, so we have more time. Thank you again for Professor Zaganelli for being with us and all the other speakers. Let's get a break and then we start with the presentation. Okay? Thank you very much.